If humans traveled near the speed of light, the universe would stop looking real, stars would warp, colors would disappear, space itself would compress into a blinding tunnel ahead of you. And the faster you move, the stranger reality would become. Because near light speed, the universe does not behave the same way human beings expect it to. Science fiction often imagines light speed travel as smooth streaks of stars rushing past a spacecraft, but reality would be far more disturbing. The truth is that the universe itself would begin to distort around you. The first thing to understand is this: humans can never truly reach the speed of light. Anything with mass, a person, a ship, even a tiny grain of dust, requires more and more energy as it moves faster. The closer something gets to light speed, the harder it becomes to accelerate further. And that final limit, the energy required, becomes effectively infinite. That means the real question is not, what would we see at the speed of light? But instead, what would we see as we moved closer and closer to it? And that is where reality begins to break. At ordinary speeds, space feels stable. Stars remain fixed in place. Light behaves normally. Time feels constant. But near light speed, everything changes. At first, inside the spacecraft, you might not notice anything unusual. Your hands would look normal. Your cabin would look normal. Your heartbeat would feel the same. To you, time would continue naturally. But outside the window, the universe would begin transforming into something alien. As the spacecraft accelerated, the light ahead of you would begin crowding together. Stars that once appeared scattered across the sky would seem to shift forward. The entire universe would appear to collapse toward the direction of travel. This effect is known as relativistic aberration. But the name barely captures how strange it would feel. The stars themselves would not actually move. Reality would simply begin changing the way light reaches your eyes. And the faster you traveled, the more extreme the distortion would become. Behind the spacecraft, the opposite would happen. The stars behind you would begin fading. They would stretch farther apart, dimming into darkness. Eventually, entire regions of the sky behind you might disappear completely from human sight. The universe behind you would seem cold, distant, and dead. Meanwhile, the universe ahead would become brighter, denser, and more compressed. It would feel as though all of reality was collapsing into a glowing point directly in front of the ship. This is where most science fiction gets it wrong. The stars would not simply stretch into white lines. The universe would become warped. Objects from the sides of the spacecraft would appear dragged forward. The sky would lose its natural shape. The open universe would begin transforming into something more like a tunnel of compressed light, and then the colors would begin to change. Light is made of waves. When you move toward light at extreme speed, those waves become compressed. This is called blue shift. The light ahead of you would shift toward higher and higher energy. Stars that once glowed yellow or white could become blue, violet, ultraviolet, and eventually invisible to human eyes. Some visible starlight could even shift into dangerous X-rays or gamma radiation. Meanwhile, behind the spacecraft, the opposite would occur. Light would stretch into lower frequencies. Stars behind you would redshift into infrared, microwaves, and radio waves. The universe behind you would slowly disappear into darkness. This means the cosmos would no longer look natural. Colors your brain evolved to recognize would vanish. Indivisible wavelengths could suddenly become visible. Visible stars might disappear entirely. Reality itself would stop behaving normally. And then comes the truly terrifying part. The brightness ahead. At near light speed, the front of the spacecraft would become one of the most dangerous places imaginable, because as light compresses and blue shifts, it also becomes more energetic. Even faint starlight could become deadly radiation. The gentle glow of distant stars could transform into something violent, and it would not just be light. Space itself would become dangerous. At ordinary speeds, microscopic particles of dust floating between stars seem harmless, but near light speed, hitting any tiny grain of dust would carry enormous energy, like an explosive bullet impacting the spacecraft. And the faster you traveled, the more lethal empty space would become. This is one of the greatest hidden problems with relativistic travel. Building an energy powerful enough to approach light speed may not even be the hardest challenge. Surviving the universe in front of you might be worse. At those speeds, space would no longer feel empty. It would feel like a storm of invisible violence. And then comes the strangest effect of all. Time itself begins to change. Inside the spacecraft, you would feel normal. Your thoughts would move normally. Your pulse would feel normal. You would not feel time slowing down. But from Earth's perspective, your time would begin separating from theirs. This effect is called time dilation. The closer you move to light speed, the slower time passes for you relative to the outside universe. A journey that feels like a few years on board the spacecraft could equal decades, centuries, or even longer for people back on Earth. Imagine leaving Earth at near light speed. You travel for what feels like 5 years. When you return, everyone you knew is gone. Civilization has changed. Cities are different. History has moved forward without you. In a terrifying way, near light speed travel allows movement into the future, not through magic, not through science fiction portals, but because space and time are connected in ways human intuition was never designed to understand. And this reveals something deeply unsettling. Time is not absolute. It is not universal. It changes depending on motion. Near the speed of light, reality itself bends. Distances shrink, time slows, light distorts. The closer you move toward light speed, the less familiar the universe becomes, and eventually, the question reaches a limit. What if humans somehow actually reach light speed? According to modern physics, we cannot. A human observer cannot truly exist at the speed of light because anything with mass cannot cross that boundary. Only massless particles, like photons, naturally travel at light speed. And from the perspective of relativity, light itself does not experience time the way humans do. This idea becomes almost impossible to imagine. A photon can travel across billions of light years from our perspective, but from the photon's perspective, there is no normal passage of time, no journey into the human sense, no experience the way we understand experience. Which means that at true light speed, the normal meaning of seeing may completely collapse, because vision requires time, thought requires time, experience requires time. And at the speed of light, the rules that define normal human reality begin to disappear. Near light speed, the universe would stop feeling like scenery outside a window. It would become distortion, compression, brightness, warped geometry, radiation, time separation. Reality itself would begin breaking apart from the perspective humans evolved to understand. And perhaps the strangest part is this: relativity is not science fiction. These effects are real. The universe already behaves this way. Human beings simply move far too slowly in daily life to notice it. Walking, driving, flying, even orbiting Earth, all of it is almost motionless compared to light. That's why relativity feels so strange. We evolved in a slow universe, but near light speed, the hidden structure of reality becomes visible. So what would humans actually see near the speed of light? Not calm star trails, not smooth science fiction tunnels, not a peaceful journey through space. The universe would warp in front of us. Stars would crowd together. Colors would vanish. Radiation would intensify. Time would separate us from Earth, and empty space itself could become one of the most dangerous environments imaginable. The closer we move toward light speed, the less reality would resemble the universe we know. Because the speed of light is not just how fast light travels, it is one of the deepest boundaries in existence. The closer humanity moves toward that boundary, the more the universe stops looking familiar. And maybe that's the most unsettling realization of all. Reality was never as stable as it felt. We were simply moving too slowly to notice.